Now let us understand the difference between the equals method and the double equal to method. Now let's say you've got an object called student, wherein the student ID is 100 and the name is John. And then you're having the another object wherein student ID is 101 and the student name is, oh sorry, again it is 100 and then the name is Chuck. Now this object is allocated memory at the location something 00x6AA, and the another object is allocated memory at the location 00x6 in BP. Now next what we have got is, if you say double equals, if S1 double equals S2, what it compares it will compare these addresses. So equal to operator, that is the comparison operator, what we have double equal to is used for comparing the primitive data types. If you want to compare objects, then you should go with the equal method. To compare, we have got two types. One is value data type, the other one is reference data type. To compare value data type, we use double equal to method. If you have to compare objects, you should use equals method. What happens if you are using double equal to? If you say S1 double equal to S2, then it compares the address of S1 with the address of S2. If we say S1 double equal to S2, then it compares the address of S1 with S2. But we are not interested in comparing the addresses. That is, if you observe from this figure, S1 double equal to S2 is it compares addresses. But if you want to compare the object, you need to make use of S1 dot equals S2 method. So if you're using S1 dot S2 equals method, you need to provide the code for this. We need to provide the code for this. Over here, what are we doing is we are checking if SID is equal to S2.SID. That is, we are checking if the SID of one object is equal to SID of another object. And then you are checking whether the name of S1 is equal to the name of S2. If both these conditions are evaluated to true, then we say, then return the value, boolean value true, saying that these two objects are equal. Otherwise, we return the boolean value as false. Clear on this? Is it clear what is the difference between equal to and double equal to? So double equal to, the comparison operation double equal to is used for comparing primitive data type, whereas equals method is used for comparing the object. So you have to decide whether we are comparing the primitive data types or we are comparing the object. If you're comparing primitive data types, then you go with double equal to, and if you are comparing objects, then we should go with the equals method. So moving forward, I think, oh yeah, we just completed up to encapsulation. So we completed up to this. Hmm. So in encapsulation, we have got packages. Packages will be discussing later. Now let us start with inheritance. So we already discussed encapsulation. You will implement it by marking the field as private or by marking the member function as private. Now inheritance is, now there are four pillars of object-oriented programming language: encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. So we have discussed a little about encapsulation, and now we will be moving into inheritance. Inheritance says avoid reinventing the wheel. Basically, the purpose of inheritance is code reusability. That is, if you have a piece of code that is fully functional, and if you require the same piece of code in other application, you need not write the code from scratch. You can reuse it. I repeat, if you have developed a certain piece of code that is fully functional, that is working perfectly, and we want the same functionality to be repeated in another application or in another class, in that case you need not write the code again. You can make use of the existing code. So that is what it says: avoid reinventing the field, avoid reinventing the wheel, that is code reusability. And then you have got derives a new class from the existing classes. Derives a new class from the existing classes. That is, if you are developing a new class that has got all the features from the existing class plus it has got its new features. If you are writing some set of code that has got all the features of from the existing classes plus it has its own feature, in that case you will not be writing the code for the existing class one more time. You will just inherit it. You will only write the code for the new features. Let's say XYZ features are there in class A and you require P and Q. So you will not write the code for the repeated functionality. XYZ is already available in the parent class. You would reuse it. The new features what we are providing is P and Q. We write the code for P and Q, whereas XYZ we inherited it from the parent class. So what all you can do with the inheritance is we can use the existing features, we can enhance the existing features, as well as we can add and modify the existing feature. Your existing class is called as base class, and the new class that has got all the features from the base class plus its own feature is called as derived class. Now let us see. Let's say you have got a class called SMS, the basic version, wherein you can just send some text messages, text version. Now what you require is you require you need two things. Uh, that is functionality. What we have is you need to send the SMS, and the next version what we has been developed is picture SMS. So under picture SMS you have got two and then you have got text. So under this two and then text, the additional functionality what we have is you can send some picture. You can send some picture. So you can send the SMS as well as you can send the picture SMS. So if you observe, your picture SMS is having all the features of the base class, that is two and then text, the one that is highlighted in red. This picture SMS class is having all the features of the base class. And when it comes to functionality, is as God send SMS. So what are we doing is we are removing the code. We are removing the duplicate code that we have written. So rather than writing the code again, what are we doing is we are inheriting it from the base class. That is, in your picture SMS class, you will be using the features of SMS class. So this is called as extents. So whatever code is repeated, that is the variable as well as functionality. What we are doing is we are removing it from your new class, and the existing features we are extending it from the parent class, and we are adding new features, that is send, pick, SMS. Is it clear? Okay, fine. You've got a class now. For another example, you've got a class called rectangle that has got two properties, length and breadth. And then okay, you've got a method called area in the rectangle class. The new class what are we writing is cuboid. It has got three properties, length, breadth, and then the height. And its functionality what you have got is to calculate the surface area and then the volume. Can you please type in your responses that says which are the features that what are the features that can be inherited from the rectangle class, or what is repeated in cuboid class? Correct. Length is repeated and correct. Manjal, Zahid, Hira, okay, all of you are correct. Length and breadth is repeated. So what do we do is you inherit cuboid class from the rectangle class. When you're inheriting the cuboid class from the rectangle class, you remove you what it says is avoid rewriting the code. Don't write the duplicate code again. Don't write the duplicate code again. If your new class is having the features from the base class, you just inherit it and you can write your and sorry the base class can have its own feature. So what can be okay, what is the new feature for the base class? What is its feature? Cuboid, length and breadth it is already inherited. What are its additional feature? What are the additional features of the base class, child class? Correct. Height and volume is the additional feature. Now, where we can use this, now let us understand where to apply these concepts. You've got a class called student that has got four properties: username, password, the course, and the score. And the functionality what we have is login, log off, write exam, and view result. You've got another class called employee that has got again four features: username, password, salary, and the designation. Login, log off, and then evaluate. So this is what we have. Now, if you observe, what are the common we have? What are the common features in student and employee? Correct. Username, password, login, log off. Correct. Username, password, login, and log off. Correct. All three of you are correct. Username, login, log off. Okay, these are common. Now, the problem what you get if you're writing this type of code is, let's say if there is any change in this logic, you're making some change in this login logic. So at how many places in how many classes this logic should be changed? Let's say you're making some change in the login part. So in how many classes this logic, this code has to be changed? How about this class? Correct, two classes. So if there is a change, then you need to change in all the classes. So what are you doing is same task, you are doing it repeatedly. You may not write the code again, but minimum you need to do copy paste. And again you need to test all the classes. So maintenance, if the code is repeated, is maintenance an easy task or it will become a tough task? Correct, Zahid, you're correct. The login logic is repeated in two classes. So maintenance is easy or is it difficult? If the code is repeated, is maintenance. That is, if you are making any changes, is it easy or it is difficult because you need to change in all the classes? Correct, it is difficult. So what we do is, I want to just make change in one place rather than changing in these many places. I just want to make a change in one place and the change should be affected in all the classes. So what we do is, in order to avoid repetition, we find all the common features. So under instance variables or under member variables, the common properties what we have found is username and password. So these are the common properties what we have found. That is the username and password, username and password. So you pick up the common features and put it in a base class, and then you have got login and then the log off. Common features we retrieve and put it into a separate class. So what we do is we extend student class from the user class and we extend employee class from the user class. Over here, if you observe, whatever is the common feature, you just remove it because you will be using the functionality from the base class. Is it clear? Okay, Manjul says yes. Okay, Hira says yes. Okay, fine, it is clear to three of you. Now let us try this. Our packages we did not cover. We will be covering it shortly after inheritance. New. So you have got a class called user. So this class has got the fields private string user and then password. The functionality what we have is, okay, we will not make it as private, we'll just make it as public void login and the log of feature. System.out.println login, and for this log off. Done. Now the other classes we have is class employee or student. I'll be writing for student, you'll be writing for employee. Class student extends user. So you inherit a class with the keyword extends. We inherit a class using the keyword extend. Student extends user. So inheritance is implemented using the extends keyword. Now over here its additional feature is integer marks, and then you have got string course and public void exam. Done. You need to write a test class. Let me make. So public static void main. Create an object for the student. And then s dot. So if you see over here, course marks, username and password. So in the student class, you're able to access the fields from the base class. That is username and password. These are the two fields from the base class, so you're able to access. Whereas course and marks, these two fields are from the derived class. So your child class, that is the student class, has inherited all the properties, all the non-private data of from the user class. Clear with this? Your child class, that is the student class, has inherited non-private data from the parent class. So let us set username is equal to John. You will be able to access. And then password, you set it to some XYZ. S dot first is, let us go with login. And if you see again, login is the feature of the base class. It has inherited S dot take exam and then S dot log off. Done with this, right click and then say run. So this is from base class, this is the feature of the child class, and this is the feature from the base class. So in your derived class, you'll be able to access all the features from the base class, plus you will be able to access its own feature. Let me go back to the normal screen. Now over here we have got question, wherein you have got option A, option B. Add question and delete question. And the another two types of the question what we have is imaged questions or multiple choice question or video question. So the additional attribute in image question is image, and the additional attribute in the video question is video. So whatever is the common feature, that is question, option A, option B, and the answer, we are just removing it. We are keeping the additional features. Because when you say image question, it inherits from the question class. It is inheriting all the non-private data from the parent class. So will be giving you, I'll be discussing few examples. When you set it to private, private data is not inherited. Private data is only visible in the class. So if I set this to private, it is not inherited, means it'll not be copied. Username has private access in user. Username has got private access. Password has got private access in user. That is, private data is not inherited. Private data of the class is not inherited. Let me increase the size. Now, over here, if you see or if you observe that, this is the diagram for online for the student management system, wherein you will have the student, the teacher, and the school manager. Student will be able to view some of their details, that is, they will be able to view all their personal details. They can track their attendance, they can appear for the exam, and all these operations can be done by the students. So in this system, we have got four users. So one is school manager, this one. Let me highlight it with a highlighter. Okay. So this person is the main class. You have got school manager, who is a type of the user. You have got admin, you have got teacher, and you have got student. So so what is the base class over here? From this figure, what is the base class? Okay, if you just consider person and then the school manager. From person, that you have got one class, that is person, and another class is school manager. So what is the base class? Okay, let me just check the answers. Correct. Zahid says person. Yes, it is correct. It is person. Okay. So from person and the teacher, person in the sense user. From the user and the teacher, what is the base class? Any response? Your quick response is appreciated. So you have got a class called person and you've got a class called teacher. Teacher is inheriting from person. So what is your base class and what is the child class? Correct. Person is parent. Yes, Zahid, correct. Child is teacher. First correct, Hira. Person is the base class and child is the derived class. Correct. So the child class is the teacher class. So person ID, you can consider this as username, first name, last name, role, password. Okay, you can add it. Now the additional attributes for the teacher is offered sections. What are the sections that this teacher is handling and in which school? What are the sections this teacher is handling and in which school? You've got school manager. He has got the additional attribute called school, which means which school is he managing? Which school is he managing? And then, okay, you have got a class called student that has got username, first name, last name, and the role. And the additional attributes of the student is the current class and what are the courses he has enrolled for and to which school does the student belong. So this is one example we have over here which you will be doing. And then we have got over here question. And a question, you have got text-based question and then the MCQ, multiple choice question. And a question, you have got text-based question and then the multiple choice question. Each question has got question ID, question number, the image path, and then the question text. So text-based question is, you can say theory-based question. Theory-based question, and this one has multiple choice question. So these are the two stuff. This what we have. So what I want is, I'll be sharing this document with you, and you can just go through this document to detail yourself. And your assignment includes, or your assignment work is, you need to write, or you need to just write the code for this. This is the class diagram. This is the logical design. You need to convert it into the code. So you will be doing the inheritance part, persons, school manager, teacher, student, question, text-based question, and text question. As of now, you'll not be writing any logic for adding the student, etc. Just write the print statement, system.out.println code yet to be written. That's it. But just get familiar with the syntax of this diagram. Uh, can you do this? We'll share this document with you. I request you people to complete this. Will you be able to do? I don't want you to develop the complete code or write the complete code. I just want the structure to be created. Based by seeing this class diagram, you need to create the structure. That's it. As you have to just create the structure. Uh, it is better if you can complete it by day end to day end. And okay, find this person, this one. Okay, wherever you find this symbol, this extends relationships. Wherever you find this extends relationship, you need to just write the structure for that. Person, school manager, admin, and uh, teacher, student, question, text-based question, and this question, multiple choice question. Need not write the code. I just want the syntax, the structure part I want. So let's say, okay, this is the user, the other user, what we have, the school manager. What you have to do is, okay, one I'll show you for reference. So user you've got, yeah, sorry, oh shit, again I selected wrong option. New Java class. So school manager, over here you will be writing extends, sorry, extends user or person, whatever it is, and private string school and what are its attributes, sorry, additional feature, add teacher, add student to course, add section to course. So public void add teacher. This way, system.out.println, you just write code for adding the teacher and then just wind up. Because as of now you'll not be able to write any code, you just wind up with the system.out.println. Just make yourself comfortable with the syntax and the concept. Coming classes wherein we learn the other concept, there we will learn how to implement the code. But as of now, you just familiarize yourself with the structure and concept. So is it clear? Is the idea clear to everyone how to do it? And what is the each class for? What is the purpose? As given in this document, you can just go through this document if you have time to know the purpose of each class and its attributes and functionalities. Now, next what we have is constructors. Constructors Now till here we have finished. Now constructors revisited. We have already discussed about constructors. So how does this fit into inheritance? We said when you are inheriting one class from the another class, the compiler will inherit all the features, that is all the non-private data of the class. But your constructors, they are not inherited. When it comes to the concept of inheritance, we said that whenever you are inheriting from child class, from parent to the child, then the system will inherit all the non-private data. But to constructors, it is an exception. But for constructors, it is an exception. Constructors are not inherited. Constructors are not inherited. Now let us understand how does this work. You've got a class called rectangle, and then okay, you've got a class called cuboid. Now you're saying cuboid extends from rectangle. So let us understand how the objects are created. So when you are writing cuboid is equal to new cuboid, we already discussed whenever new is called on the class type, the code for the constructor is executed. Whenever new is called on the class type, the code for the constructor is executed. So over here, if you see, it is not creating this part. So first it is creating this length and breadth, and then height. So which constructor or which object is created first? Is it the rectangle object or cuboid object? From the figure, which object
Rectangle.
is created first? Rectangle object or cuboid object?
Rectangle.
Okay, let me run this animation one more time. So till here it is clear. So when you're calling new on the class type, we discussed that the code for the constructor is executed. That is when you are creating a cuboid object, how it is created, what are the steps that are involved for creating the cuboid object. So this is for rectangle. First it is creating which object? Cuboid or rectangle? Okay, let me run the animation. Okay, here is correct rectangle object. Now which object is created first? Cuboid. First it is creating parent class object or child class object. Yes, here you are correct. First it is creating rectangle class object. So when you are trying to create an object for the cuboid class, because your cuboid class is inheriting from the rectangle class, the system or the GVM is first creating the object for the rectangle class. Now, when it is creating the object for the rectangle class, what are the properties of the rectangle? The properties of the rectangle are length and then breadth. Correct, parent class. So what are the properties of the parent class? Length and breadth. So length and breadth are initialized over here. Length and breadth are initialized to 0. Now after it has created an object for the rectangle class, it will create the object for your cuboid class. Over here its additional property is height, that is being initialized. So from this figure what we can observe is, first, if you're creating an object for the child class, first it creates an object for its parent, then it creates an object for the child class. Clear with this?
Yes.
Okay. Zahid and Manjal, is it clear? Okay, Manjal, is it clear? Okay, fine. Now, over here you see this. Whenever new is called on the class type, over here, whenever new is called on the class type, whenever new is called on the class type, over here if you observe, the code for the constructor will get executed. This code will get executed. I repeat, whenever you call new on the class type, the code for the constructor will get executed. So the code for the constructor is executed. Now, how does it call your constructor of the superclass? So we take help of the super keyword to call the constructor of your superclass. Your parent class is also called as superclass. It is a synonym. Parent class is also called as superclass. So the compiler will insert the call to the super and wherein it executes the code for the constructor from the superclass. So again, same process. Length is 0 and then breadth is 0. Once this is initialized, after your parent class object is created, then the compiler will create the object for your child class, where it initializes the additional attributes of the child class. Is this process clear? This is how it works, or this is how it happens implicitly. So that is why we say constructors are not inherited. Constructors, they are not inherited. There is a call to the constructor of the parent class that is inserted by the compiler using super keyword. Constructors are not inserted. There is a call that is inserted by the compiler to the parent class constructor using the super keyword. Is that clear? So first, which object is created? Parent class object or child class object? From this figure, what can you note or what can you make out? First, parent class object is created or child class, that is first rectangle class object is created or first it creates an object for the cuboids. No, super will not insert. Super, if you see from the figure, super is transferring the call from your child class to the base class. Extends will insert. Super is transferring. Correct, Hira, you're correct. First is rectangle class. When it comes to object creation, when it comes to the object creation, each class is responsible for creating its own object, even though it is inherited. So, Manjil, when super is inserted, as you said, when you see super, the super will make a call or it will make a call to your parent class. Rather than saying super inserts length and breadth to the child class, uh, you can say super will transfer the control from your child class to the parent class, wherein it will create the object for your child class, wherein it will create the object for the parent class. Okay, and then next your child class is rectangle class. First it is rectangle, second is the child class. So, okay, fine. You are clear with this? Any doubts on this? Okay, so Manjil, you have got some doubts. Can you please type that in the text chat window? Okay, which one you would like me to repeat? Okay, super keyword. If you see the super keyword, the super, it will transfer the call. If you observe this arrow, it is transferring the call from your child class to your parent class. From here, it goes over here. So when it goes over here, this code is executed. So super, so whenever the call to the super is inserted by the compiler, so when this call to the super is inserted by the compiler, it creates an object for your parent class. It creates an object for the parent class. That is, it creates this length and then the breadth. Once this code is completed, this length and breadth is made available to your cuboid class. Clear with this? Yes, you can say in the child class. So this code, the orange part is created by the rectangle class itself. So that is why we say constructors are not inherited, because if you see, it is coming over here and then executing. If it has been inherited, this rectangle code should have been copied and pasted over here. Over here, if you see the one that is in gray, private integer length, breadth, this is made available. This is made available to your child class. But when it comes to the object creation, it is with the parent class. Height is after it creates the object. Height is made away. Height is this one. So after it creates the object, length is 0, and then again you have got breadth that is equal to 0. Once the closing brace is reached, or once the object is being created, the control will come back to the child class, wherein it will initialize the height to 0. Is it clear? So height is visible only in the cuboid class. It is not visible in the rectangle class. Okay, fine. Okay. So with this we will wind up the discussion for today. Manjal has got few doubts on the exercises. Manjal, could you please type in your questions? Question number 3. Okay, just 1 minute. Question number 3. Okay, I'll just share the email address. You can, it is java@mindsmapped. I have shared the email address. You can send your responses to java@mindsmapped.com. So question number 3. Write an application to prompt the user to enter the marks of 3 subjects and calculate the sum. So over here, this question is based on the data type. So we say that the maximum marks is 100. So for this, your data type should be integer. So Question 3. You need to make use of this public static void main and then byte s1 comma s2 and then s2. Let me check what the scanner has got next byte. Okay, we have got next byte. S1 and then you need to repeat the code for S2 and then S3. Yes, it will be better if you send it now so that I can cross check your question. S1, S2 and then S3. So over here what has been emphasized is the use of the data type. That's it. And question number 1. Uh, uh, okay, I have to check this. Over here, the question says you need to just prompt the user to enter a character and then just display it onto the screen. It is like echoing the character back onto the screen. So character ch system.out.println, enter a character. This is this to familiarize you with the input sc dot next dot character at 0. This is the output for first. Let me comment this. In question 1 we don't have to use loop. A and this it should print the same character. That's it. Okay. Any other doubts? So I'll thanks for forwarding your responses to the email. I'll just check it. If there are any improvements to be done, okay, we'll share that in the next class. I'll share the email. Okay. Okay. Can you on question 1? Over here for the maximum marks, if you want to put this into a condition, then Just check it if S1 should be greater than or equal to 0 and S1 should be less than or equal to 100. This is how you should check. This is for S1, and if you want to, we have to repeat it for all the three. Let me change this to S2 and this to S3. Right click, run file. Okay, because we have to byte, and when you are typing 258, it is giving you a runtime exception called input mismatch exception. Is this the error what you're getting? Can you be? I cannot. Okay, let me check your code. Okay, thanks for wasting. Okay, thanks, Manju. Thanks for this. I don't know for what reason it is unable to download. Now over here, the mistake what you have done is, oh, mm, over here you have this one. You have placed a semicolon over here. You should not keep semicolon. Okay, fine. Over here it is going into the infinite loop unless and until the first subject marks is less than or equal to 0. It is prompting you to enter the marks for the first subject. 10, 20, 30, 40. You have got your logic incorrect. So it will just keep on repeating until you enter 150. Average is equal to plus average. So instead of this, you should make it greater than 100. Okay. See, if you are entering incorrect marks, it is prompting you again. If you enter 100, it exits. Is it clear? This one, you keep it inside the loop. You can repeat the same for second as well as third subject. Second subject, average is 150. Same logic, you just repeat it for the other two. Is it clear? Okay, fine. Do we have any other doubts? Okay. Yeah, sure. Please type in your query. Uh, Hira, can you just paste your code into the chat window? I don't know for what reason it is unable to open. Mm-mm. Okay. Manjil, what you have done is your code is only working for A and B. And you are making use of the character class to lowercase. This is fine. So, uh, can you just let me know what is the doubt in this? obviously the code has to keep on asking you for the characters. 1 minute, let me just scroll down. After I enter A, should it not exit the loop? Okay. So if you want to exit the loop after you enter A, then in that case you can just keep break over here. Break will help you to exit the loop. So in these two cases, you can exit the loop. Clear with this? Okay, now coming to you, Hira. I'm copying your code. Hira, your code is correct. Can you let me know, okay, what is the query you have in this code? Not required. Now look, this code, like this work code will work fine, perfectly well. If in case marks, there is a possibility you might have 23.5, etc. In that case, double is okay. If in case if you're working only with integers, then you can go with byte. That's it. If in case we are expecting the user to enter the floating point values, then rather than going with the double, you go with the float, because memory for the marks, because marks, as we discussed, you will be entering only in the range of 0 to 100. So when you're going with 0 to 100, we don't require high degree of precision. In that case, we can go with float. That is the thing you can change. That's it. Rest of the code is fine. So any other questions? Okay, welcome Manju. I'll be sharing more exercises on loop and if else condition, which you have to do, and then the document what I have discussed today, that is for inheritance, that also I'll be sharing. So you just try to complete those. So with this, okay, we'll wind up the session for today. See you in the next class. Tomorrow we'll continue with the inheritance topic. I'll just share the document with you. Try to complete the exercises. So thanks for participating in the session. We'll wind up the session today. So can we wind up the session for today? Okay, Manjil, bye-bye. Okay, fine, Zahid. Okay, we'll
Okay,
wind up the
take care.
session.
Bye bye.
Thank you, welcome. Please try to practice all the exercises.